Indeed, it seems like a lot of people are using it, don't you think? Additionally, avoid discussing it. I ask myself, well, why are we like questioning? We should just have an honest conversation about it. Talent development is a direct result of leadership. You truly want a leader who is committed to nurturing talent and making their team the best they can be. That person is expressing what the majority of people in this field are reluctant to speak aloud. That individuals are aware that they keep silent about it. Music. And that true leaders, those who truly merit that label rather than merely possess it, perform better than that. They defend their citizens. They cultivate them. They invest in them, support them, and make sure they have all they need to be successful. Music. They are not utilized. Additionally, they never put them in front of a camera or allow them to be attacked for amusement. Hold on to that thought, because what you are about to hear is the tale of what happens when an organization does the exact opposite of everything that was just described, as well as what happens when the world's most dominant athlete decides she is tired of watching from the sidelines without reacting. Because the effects of that choice are still being felt today. A 20-year-old entered one of America's most popular daytime TV studios for what was meant to be a celebration of all she had earned and worked for. Before it was finished, she left with a proud demeanor, without hurrying or crying. And according to reports, that decision, that calm, dignified, and completely planned exit, started a series of events that are currently confronting ABC with a court battle unlike anything the sports media industry has seen in a very long time. $50 million is the amount that major networks' legal departments and tennis communities are debating. And for the better part of 2 decades, the person who was reportedly behind that encounter won Grand Slams and made every organization that had ever undervalued her regret it. She left at the age of 20. Alexandra Eala is her name. Her nationality is Filipino. She is 20 years old. Additionally, she has been doing something to professional tennis over the past few weeks that has completely stopped the sport in a way that is uncommon. This media frenzy isn't based on a sluggish news cycle. This plot was not created with algorithmic clicks in mind. On a court, she possesses exceptional technical skills while maintaining composure under high competition pressure. Not one. She bears the weight and sincere hope of a country that has been waiting for someone like her to make that type of impact on the world stage for a longer period of time than most people outside of it comprehend. Music. Music. The festivities in the Philippines have been genuine, boisterous, and full of the kind of group pride that only manifests when something genuinely noteworthy is taking place. Music. The tennis community as a whole has been keeping a close eye on her since what she is accomplishing on a professional court at the age of 20 is very uncommon. The kind of uncommon that doesn't happen on a regular basis. From the outside, it appeared to be a perfect moment, arriving at precisely the right time when she was invited to appear on The View, one of ABC's premier daytime shows and a show that millions of Americans watch every week. A young champion on the rise who is at last gaining the kind of widespread recognition her narrative has merited. Music. An opportunity to sit across from a national audience and show the world who she is outside of the baseline and rankings. Music. It was meant to be a happy, proud occasion. It's the kind of TV appearance that a young athlete smiles about years later because everything went according to plan. It was meant to be a festive occasion. Completely stop. However, this is something no one anticipated. The interview did not proceed as planned at all, according to many people with first-hand knowledge of what transpired behind those cameras and backstage. The talk that was meant to focus on her accomplishments, her journey, and her unprecedented ascent through the professional ranks is said to have never materialized, despite the filmmakers supposedly abandoning the agreed-upon script. Her tennis was not the subject of the questions that followed. Music. They were intimate. They were intrusive. They breached boundaries that were evidently well established and understood in terms of music, before she ever stepped foot on the set. A 20-year-old athlete was allegedly being subjected to precisely the kind of interrogation she had expressly refused to endure in front of cameras, in front of a live studio audience, on national television, in a nation that was not hers. In the exact setting where she had the least amount of strength and leverage to resist without the entire situation changing. Then consider how that truly feels. You're 20 years old. You are seated in a studio that is not yours, in a nation that is not yours, beneath lights that are intended to maximize your visibility to millions of viewers. You entered the room with a mutually understood, precise, and unambiguous agreement regarding the nature of this discussion. In the midst of it all, With the audience watching and the cameras running, you come to the realization that the individuals seated across from you don't care about your agreement. You didn't sign up for this conversation. Something that feels less like a celebration of what you've created and more like a pressure test meant to elicit an emotional response, take you by surprise, and make you feel uncomfortable. Music that wants to turn your discomfort into a moment worth sharing. That was not what she gave them. She didn't shatter. She remained calm. They might have been waiting for her response, but she didn't deliver it. Given everything going on around her at the time, it seemed nearly impossible for someone her age to maintain her poise and quiet dignity. Then she made a choice that no one in the studio anticipated. With her head held high and her self-respect intact, she got up and walked off the platform. That walkout, that one calm, calculated act of rejection, set off a chain reaction in the sports world that traveled more quickly than ABC's publicity team had anticipated. Before the network had prepared a statement, social media had the story. In a matter of hours, tennis circles were analyzing it. Before they even realized what they were dealing with, Sean and ABC were forced to deal with a reaction that had already caught up to them. However, the social media and fan outrage was just the start of their issues because the part that would really cost them was still coming. Additionally, it was coming from a direction that they were obviously unable to see. Because it appears that the show's producers did not take this into consideration when creating the interview's intended format. There was another person observing. Not a fan responding on the internet. Not a sports reporter looking for a story. Someone with a strong legal foundation and substantial wealth. And in decades of intensely personal experience, dealing with the same kind of vitriol from the media that Alexa had just encountered in front of millions of people on national television. Someone who, according to all known accounts, saw that video and did not take it lightly. Not even a little bit. That individual was Serena Williams, according to rumors making the rounds in tennis circles. Aya's strong serves resonate like thunder through the empty indoor court. She's making a stronger comeback, the caption simply stated. In just a few hours, it went viral. Comments flooded in. She looks different. Her focus is incredible. Is this about Sabalenka? It was never verified by Eala. She was not required to. The story was told through the eyes, which were sharper, colder, and more intentional. Her co-workers noticed the shift as well. The girl who had questioned her own timing was now striving for excellence. The individual who had smiled under pressure now stared through it. When her coach asked if she was ready to resume the tour, she only had one answer. Find her bracket for me. And fate did just that. The Madrid WTA draw was cancelled a few weeks later. Eala and Sabalenka are in the same section. If they both advanced, they would undoubtedly face off in the quarterfinals. The internet went bananas. The sports media nicknamed it the revenge run. Is it possible for Eala to defeat the Titan? Was the headline. ISA said nothing. She just practiced. She didn't leave a comment or post. Beneath the calm exterior, however, her heartbeat quickened. It was this. She was aware that the journey had looped back and that the narrative was scripting itself. The woman who had previously teased her would now have to cope with an unanticipated Isla. She silently muttered, "This time, no fear," as she gazed into the mirror prior to her first game in the locker room. Every swing that week served a purpose. With every victory, the last collision was drawing nearer. Reporters asked her about the rivalry, the handshake, and the whispers. Eala declared, "I'm not thinking about the past." Grinning politely, "I'm considering what comes next." But everyone knew the truth. Her past was what came next, and it was going to catch fire. The cameras would soon be able to see it. The crowd would soon sense it, and as Aya stepped across the net from Sabalenka again, the tempest she had been building for months was ready to explode. The Madrid arena was filled with a deep silence, the kind that falls between chaos and anticipation. Fans were crammed into every seat, phones out, emotions racing. The competition that everyone had been looking forward to was finally here. Alexandra Eala versus Irina Sabalenka. Retaliation versus reputation. Calm accuracy versus pure power. As soon as you took the court, you could feel the difference. Eala didn't smile, didn't wave. Her inscrutable, unblinking gaze was fixated straight across the internet. Sabalenka, on the other hand, came in like a cyclone, her chest rising, her racket beating repeatedly on her thigh. For a moment, she grinned. Dubai gave the same sly smile as though she were still in charge. But this time, she didn't own the moment. The first serve of the match echoed like a gunshot. Sabalenka got off to an aggressive start, hitting aces and yelling after every point. But Eala did not waver. She moved with the serenity and fluidity of water. Every rally turned into a contest of wills. The glare came next. After 23 strokes of unflinching accuracy, Eala finished one of the longest points in the first set with a laser forehand down the line. The crowd went wild. For the first time, she didn't just turn away. She looked straight at Sabalenka, still, composed, and icy. That look said it all. "I've changed as a Dubai girl." The cameras zoomed in right away. The video went viral on Twitter in a matter of minutes. One source claims that Eala only shot Sabalenka the death stare. Someone else said,